Magandang araw mga bata! Ako si Ma'am Regine, ang teacher mo sa math. And today we will be learning about absolute value and integers. This is a lesson under Grade 7 Mathematics, Quarter 1, Lesson 3. Kaya tara na, and let's do the math. The absolute value of a number is the distance of the given number on the number line from 0. It disregards the direction from where it lies with respect to 0 and is always positive. A number line is made up of a line with arrowheads on both ends that goes on forever with integers marked at intervals. This is an example of a number line. Ito ang kanyang itsura. It is made up of a line at yung kanyang both ends, magkabila ang dulo ay may arrowheads. Both these arrowheads signifies infinity, just like ellipsis. It means that the list still continues. After 9, meron pa tayong mga sumunod pang number. We have 10, 11, 12, and so on. Ito din, from negative 5, meron pang negative 6, negative 7, and so on. All these numbers na nasa number line are called integers and they are marked at intervals, meaning meron silang mga distances from each other. Nakikita natin yan, pinapakita yan nitong mga lines na ito. We can say that 0 is the origin of the number line. Siya yung gitna. Neutral siya, wala siyang sign. Hindi siya positive, hindi rin siya negative. And all the numbers on the right side of 0 are positive numbers or positive integers, while all the numbers on its left side are negative numbers or negative integers. Integers are whole numbers with their negative counterparts, meaning for every positive number, meron siyang counterpart or kabaliktaran na negative integer. Sabi natin kanina, 0 is the origin, so siya yung gitna, neutral siya, wala siyang sign, hindi siya positive, hindi rin siya negative. Itong mga positive numbers ay laging may counterpart or kabaliktaran na negative integer. For example, if we have positive 1, ang counterpart niya ay negative 1. So if we have positive 2, the counterpart is negative 2. Positive 3, we have negative 3. For positive 4, meron siyang counterpart na negative 4. Ganun din naman si positive 5, may counterpart na negative 5, and so on. Lahat ng numbers na positive ay always may counterpart na negative nila. Absolute value is denoted by n enclosed in two lines. So, itong n ay any number. Pwede natin siyang palitan ng any number. And it is read as the absolute value of n. This is an example. So, ito ay ang absolute value of 2. We can read it as the absolute value of 2. Since absolute value is the distance of a number from 0, using this number line, pwede nating itanong, how far is 2 from 0? Gaano nga ba kalayo si positive 2 kay 0? So, ang gagawin natin ay magbibilang tayo from 0, which is the origin, 1, 2. Therefore, the distance of 2 from 0 is 2. Dahil dyan, the absolute value of 2 is positive 2. Since all absolute values are always positive. Next, another example. What is the absolute value of negative 2? So, kukunin naman natin yung value nitong absolute value ni negative 2. Ganon din, tulad kanina, using a number line, gano'n nga ba kalayo si negative 2 kay 0? So, bibilangin din natin from 0, which is the origin, 1, 2. Therefore, the distance of negative 2 from 0 is also 2. The absolute value of both 2 and negative 2 are 2 because the absolute value of a number is always positive and never negative. So, sa madaling salita, pag kinukuha natin yung absolute value ng mga numbers, ang ating sagot ay always positive. So, kukunin natin, for example, yung absolute value ni positive 8, ang sagot natin ay positive 8 because absolute values are always positive. Ganun din naman, say, for example, absolute value ni negative 5, the answer is positive 5 dahil lahat nga ng absolute value ay positive lamang. Another question, what is the value of the negative of absolute value of 2? So in such cases, when a negative sign appears before the absolute sign, this will mean that you are taking the inverse or the opposite of the absolute value, thus leading to a negative number. So tulad nito, ang una natin gagawin dito ay kukunin natin yung absolute value ni positive 2. So, ang sagot natin kanina ay positive 2. The absolute value of positive 2 is 2. Kaya lang, meron tayong negative sign appearing before the absolute sign. Meaning, after natin siyang kunin yung kanyang absolute value, ididikit natin siya sa negative. We are taking the opposite of the absolute value. Kaya naman yung ating sagot originally na absolute value ni 2 ay positive 2, magiging negative 2 siya dahil meron ngang negative sign before the absolute value. Always remember that the absolute value of both 2 and negative 2 are 2 because ang sabi nga natin kanina, absolute value of any number is always positive. However, the value of the negative of the absolute value of 2 is negative 2 because a negative sign appears before the absolute value. Kaya ang ating magiging sagot ay negative number dahil ang negative sign ay nandoon before or nasa labas siya noong absolute sign. So since alam na natin ang absolute value of a number, we also know what a number line is. We'll be using it in real-life situations. Saan nga ba natin pwedeng gamitin yung absolute value of a number? Saan mga bagay siya pwedeng mag-apply? This is one example. So, this is also a number line. However, vertical siya, nakatayo. Yung kaninang number line natin na example ay nakahiga, horizontal siya. Kung mapapansin natin, yung 0 ay nasa gitna talaga niya. This is the origin. Yung mga positive numbers ay nasa taas, sa vertical. Sa horizontal, ito ay nasa kanan. Yung mga negative numbers naman ay nasa baba. Yung sa horizontal or nakahiga, ito ay nasa kaliwa. And this vertical number line is using feet as its unit. Yan. So, meron tayong picture of a C. And this one is the C surface, yung pinakataas niya. So, the best number to represent the C surface or the sea level is 0 since siya yung gitna, origin siya. Anything above the sea level will be measured using positive integers since positive yung mga nasa taas ng isang vertical na number line. And anything below sea level will be measured using negative integers dahil nakikita natin sa ating vertical number line, lahat ng numbers na nasa baba ni 0 ay negative. The absolute value of 0 is 0 because 0 is 0 units away from itself. Nandito lang naman siya sa origin, di naman siya gumalaw. So, ang absolute value niya ay 0 lamang. For example, meron tayong cliff above the sea level. This is an illustration of a cliff. How far is the cliff from the sea level? Gaano ba siya kalayo? So, let's measure. This is the distance of the sea level, yung gitna, yung origin, from the cliff. So, from 0, tumapat siya kay positive 5. So, kukunin natin yung absolute value ni positive 5, which is 5. Because 5 is 5 units away from 0. So, from 0, bibilangin natin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Therefore, yung layo ni cliff from sea level ay 5 feet away. The cliff is 5 feet away from sea level. So, yung unit dito ay papalitan natin ng feet dahil this vertical number line is using feet as its unit of measurement. Yung layo daw ni Cliff, ito, yung pagitan nila, yung kanilang distansya ay 5 feet. Next, so meron naman tayo dito isang crab. So what is the distance of the crab from the sea level? Gaano nga ba kalayo si crab kay sea level? Sukatin din natin. This is the distance of the crab from the sea level. Ito ay tumapat from 0 kay negative 4. What is the absolute value of negative 4? That is 4. Because negative 4 is 4 units away from 0. Si negative 4 daw ay 4 units yung layo niya. So kung bibilangin natin ay 1, 2, 3, 4. Therefore, the crab is 4 feet away from the sea level. So, meron naman tayong flying bird. What is the distance of the bird from the sea level? Kung susukatin natin siya, ito yung distance ng bird from the sea level starting from 0. The absolute value of 7 is 7. Tumapat siya kay positive 7 because 7 is 7 units away from 0. So, from 0, kung bibilangin natin, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Therefore, the bird is 7 feet away from the sea level. Next, alam na natin kanina that the cliff is 5 feet away from sea level. Ito yung kanyang distance. At alam din natin that the crab is 4 feet away from the sea level. Now, the question is, how far is the distance of the crab from the cliff? Gaano kalayo si crab dito kay cliff? So, kung susukatin natin yung distansya nilang dalawa, ang gagawin natin ay i-add lang natin sila together. So, we have here 5 feet. Ito yung layo ni cliff from sea level, the origin. And we also have 4 feet. Ito naman yung layo ni crab from sea level. I-add lang natin sila together. So, 5 feet plus 4 feet is 9 feet. Therefore, the crab is 9 feet away from the cliff. Ang layo daw ni crab kay cliff ay 9 feet. So, dito naman tayo. Si bird ay alam natin na yung flying bird ay 7 feet away. Yung kanyang layo sa sea level ay 7 feet. While si crab, 4 feet yung kanyang layo. So, the question is, how far is the bird and the crab from each other? Gaano ba sila kalayo sa isa't isa? What we will do is just to add their distances from the sea level together. So, itong 7 feet ay yung layo ni bird kay sea level at yung 4 feet naman yung layo ni crab from the sea level. I-add lang natin sila together. 7 feet plus 4 feet is 11 feet. Therefore, the bird and the crab are 11 feet away from each other. This time, we will be focusing on integers. These are numbers with positive and their negative counterparts. Punta muna tayo sa addition of integers. To add two positive integers, add the two integers and copy the positive sign of it. Meron tayong positive 3. I-add natin siya kay positive 2. We just need to combine all these. Meron tayong 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Because 3 plus 2 is equal to positive 5. Itong dalawa ay positive integers. Therefore, ang sagot natin ay positive 10. An integer without a negative sign before it is automatically known as a positive integer. Itong mga integers na walang sign ng negative, these are known as positive integers. To add two negative integers, add the two integers together and copy the negative sign of it. Negative integers are numbers with a minus sign before it. Meron tayong negative 3, i-add natin siya kay negative 2. We need to combine all them together since pare-pareho lang naman sila ng sign. All of them are negative integers. So, negative 3 plus negative 2 is negative 5. Since both of them are negative, the answer is also negative. Applying the rules, i-add muna natin sila together. 3 plus 2 is 5. And then we need to copy their common sign, which is negative. Kaya ang ating sum ay negative 5. When you add a zero pair, the sum is always 0. A pair of one negative and one positive is a zero pair. So if we have here a positive 1 added to a negative 1, since this is a zero pair, silang dalawa ay makakancel lamang. Kapag pinag-plus natin sila, ang sagot ay 0. Another example, kung meron tayong positive 2, i-add natin siya kay negative 2. Since sila ay zero pair, meron tayong dalawang zero pair dito, all of them will be cancelled out, and the answer will be 0. Lahat ng zero pair ay laging 0 ang sagot. Say for example, positive 5 plus negative 5, positive 100 plus negative 100. So long as it's a zero pair, the sum is always 0. To add integers with different signs, magkaiba yung kanilang signs but not a zero pair. First, find their absolute values. Next, subtract the smaller number from the bigger number, and then copy the original sign of the bigger number for the sum. Example, kung meron tayong positive 3 at i-add natin siya kay negative 2, following the rule for zero pair, since meron tayong dalawang pares ng zero pair dito, both of them will be cancelled out at ang matitira ay yung positive 1. Therefore, 3 plus negative 2 is positive 1. However, without using these visuals, let's apply the rules for adding integers with different signs. Ang sabi dito, una natin gawin ay find their absolute values. So, absolute values of a number is always positive. Absolute value of 3 is positive 3, and the absolute value of negative 2 is positive 2. So, kung may absolute value na tayo, next, subtract the smaller number from the bigger number. Identify natin kung sino ang smaller o kung sino ang bigger number. So, between 3 and 2, yung ating nakuwang absolute values, 3 is bigger, 2 is smaller. Kaya naman si 2 ay ibabawas natin kay 3. 3 minus 2 is equal to 1. Next, for its sign, para sa sign ng ating sagot, copy the original sign of the bigger number. So, before natin kunin yung absolute values, si 3 ay positive at si 2 kanina ay negative before getting its absolute value. Since 3 is bigger at siya ay positive, yung ating sagot na 1 kanina sa 3 minus 2 ay magiging positive. Therefore, 3 plus negative 2 is positive 1 because the sign of the sum is based on the sign of the bigger number. Another example, if we have positive 2 added to negative 3, visuals muna tayo. So, since meron tayong dalawang zero pairs, they will be cancelled out. Ang matitira ay yung negative 1. So, dapat ang ating sagot ay negative 1. 2 plus negative 3 is negative 1. Without using the visuals and applying the rules for adding integers with different signs, una natin kunin ang kanilang absolute values. So, si positive 2, ang absolute value niya ay 2. Si negative 3 ay magiging positive 3 dahil yun ang kanyang absolute value. Next, subtract the smaller number from the bigger number. Si 2 ay ang smaller number, si 3 ay ang bigger number. Yun yung kanilang mga absolute values. 3 minus 2 is equal to 1. So, nasubtract na natin siya. Ano ang magiging sign ng ating sagot? Para makuha natin ang sign nitong ating sagot, we will have to base it on the original sign of the bigger number. So, kanina, bago natin kunin yung absolute values ng ating mga addends, ito yung ating dalawang numbers na inad, 2 and negative 3. Si 3 ay negative, and 3 is bigger than 2 nung ating nakuha na yung kanilang absolute value. Therefore, yung ating sagot na 1 sa 3 minus 2 ay magiging negative 1. Because negative is the original sign of the bigger number, which is 3. Kaya 2 plus negative 3 is really negative 1. Next, we have subtraction of integers. The basic rule for subtracting integers is first change the sign of the subtrahend, then proceed to the rules of addition. Pero bago yan, alamin muna natin ang basic parts ng subtraction. Ang minuend ay ang number na binabawasan. Kung ang ating subtraction process ay vertical or nakatayo, ang minuend ay yung nasa taas. Kung horizontal naman or nakahiga, minuend yung nauuna. Siya yung babawasan. And this one is the symbol for subtraction, minus. Subtrahend. Subtrahend naman yung number na ibabawas. So vertically, si subtrahend ay nasa baba ni minuend. Kung nakahiga naman horizontal, siya yung nasa dulo or siya yung pangalawa. Subtrahend is yung number na ibabawas. Subtrahend is the number being subtracted from a number. It is being subtracted from minuend. Kaya kailangan nating malaman kung sino sa kanilang dalawang subtrahend para alam natin kung sino yung tamang number na ating iibahin ang sign. At syempre, pag tayo ay nag-subtract, ang sagot ay difference. Let's have an example. If we have here positive 2 minus negative 1, sundin natin yung rule ng subtracting integers. First, change the sign of the subtrahend. Alam natin na si subtrahend ay yung number na nasa baba at si minuend ay yung nasa taas. Si minuend ay hindi natin gagalawin yung kanyang signs as is. So kung positive siya, positive talaga siya. Between 2 and negative 1 ang ating subtrahend. From negative, gagawin natin siyang positive. Kaya naman si negative 1 ay naging positive 1. At yung minus sign ay gagawin na nating plus sign. Meron na tayo ngayong positive 2 plus positive 1. Let's now apply the rules of addition for two positive integers. To add two positive integers, add the two integers together and copy the positive sign of it. Meron tayong positive 2, ipa-plus natin kay positive 1. Since ito ay addition na, i-combine lang natin silang lahat. 2 plus 1 is positive 3. Kaya naman ang ating original equation na 2 minus negative 1, ang sagot ay positive 3. Another example, we have here negative 2 minus positive 1. Una, change the sign of the subtrahend from positive, naging negative. Ang ating positive 1 ay naging negative 1. Minus sign, gagawin nating plus sign. Kaya naman, meron na tayo ngayong dalawang negative integers. Isang negative 2, isang negative 1. And applying the rules of addition, to add two negative integers, add the two integers together and copy the negative sign of it. Since ito ay addition na, pwede na natin silang i-combine lahat. 2 plus 1 is 3, copying the sign of the negative sign from both of them. Yung 3 ay magiging negative 3. Kaya naman ang ating original problem na negative 2 minus positive 1, ang sagot ay negative 3. Another example, if we have here negative 2 minus negative 1, change the sign of the subtrahend from negative to positive. Negative 1 magiging positive 1, si minus sign magiging plus. Applying the rules of addition, since meron tayong zero pair, sila ay maka-cancel out. Ang matitira yung ating sagot, which is negative 1. To add integers with different signs, find their absolute values. Si negative 2 ang kanyang absolute value ay positive 2. Positive 1 ang absolute value ay positive 1. Next, subtract the smaller number from the bigger number. In this case, si smaller number ay si 1 at si larger number ay si 2, yung kanyang absolute value. Kaya ibawas natin si 1 kay 2. 2 minus 1 is equal to 1. Next, for the sign of our sum, yung ating pinakasagot, Copy the original sign of the bigger number. Kanina, kinuha natin yung absolute values nila. This is positive 2 and this is positive 1. So, between 2 and 1, mas malaki si 2. Ang original sign ni 2 ay negative. Negative 2 siya. Kaya ito namang ating sagot na 1 ay magiging negative 1. Negative 2 plus positive 1 is negative 1. Yung ating original na problem kanina ay negative 2 minus negative 1. Ang sagot natin dun ay negative 1. Word problem. A mercury thermometer records a temperature of 80 degrees Fahrenheit at 10 a.m. If the temperature drops by 30 degrees Fahrenheit every hour, what will be the temperature by 2 p.m. of the same day? So, dito sa word problem na ito, may ilan tayong mga salita na bibigyang kahulugan. First, thermometer. A thermometer is an instrument used to record temperature. Temperature naman is the degree of hotness or coldness. Gano'n nga ba kalamig o kainit ang isang bagay? Degrees Fahrenheit. Degrees Fahrenheit is one of the units of measurement of temperature. Dito sa atin sa Pilipinas, masanay tayong gamitin ng degree Celsius. Pero in this word problem, we will be using Fahrenheit. Speaking of thermometer, this is a digital thermometer. Ito yung mas sanay tayong gamitin, commonly used ito sa mga bahay. Digital ito dahil ang result nito after 1 to 2 minutes, halimbawa nakalagay siya sa kilikili, nakaipit siya doon para malaman ng temperature. Pag siya tumunog na, kung ano yung number na kanyang pinapakita, iyon yung na-record niyang temperature. Digital. Aside from a digital thermometer, ginagamit din natin to record temperature ang isang thermal scanner. Halos pareho lang sila ng digital thermometer. Yung kanyang pinapakitang number dito, yun din naman yung kanyang nare-record na temperature. However, ito ay itinatapat lamang, say for example, sa forehead ng isang tao para malaman niya na yung temperature. Ini-scan lang siya, hindi siya kailangang iipit. Katulad nitong digital thermometer kasi kailangang ma-absorb nitong metal rod na ito sa dulo yung temperature para kanyang ma-record. Pero, this word problem is pertaining to a mercury thermometer and this is what a mercury thermometer looks like. It is made up of glass, yung kanyang body. Yung dulo niya, just like a digital thermometer, ay made up of metal rod din. Nakalagay siya sa isang plastic. Ito ay hindi na masyadong ginagamit sa panahon ngayon dahil made up of glass nga ang kanyang body, prone siya na mabasag. At pag nabasag siya, ang loob niya ay mercury. Itong mercury sa loob niya ng isang mercury thermometer ang nagsasabi kung ano yung temperature na kanyang na-record. And mercury is a dangerous substance kapag na-intake ng isang tao. Kaya ngayon, hindi na siya masyadong ginagamit. Ang commonly used natin na thermometer ay digital. But for this word problem, gagamitin natin ay mercury thermometer. According to this word problem, by 10 a.m., a mercury thermometer records a temperature of 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Every hour, kada oras, the temperature recorded drops by 30 degrees Fahrenheit. The question is, what will be the temperature by 2 p.m. of the same day from 10 a.m. kung kada oras ay nababawasan itong 80 ng 30 degrees? Let's start. By 10 a.m., ang recorded ng ating mercury thermometer na temperature ay 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's start from there.
1 hour later.
80 minus 30 is 50. Kaya tayo nag-minus dahil sa word na drop. Since bumaba yung kanyang temperature, kailangan nating mag-subtract. 30 dahil 30 degrees yung ibinababa niyang temperature kada oras. By 11 a.m. of the same day, from 80 degrees Fahrenheit nung 10 a.m., naging 50 degrees Fahrenheit na lamang siya.
1 hour later.
Bumaba na naman siya by 30 degrees, kaya nag-minus na naman tayo ng 30. 50 minus 30 is 20. By 12 noon of the same day, from 50 degrees nung 11 a.m., naging 20 degrees Fahrenheit na lamang siya.
1 hour later.
Bumaba na naman ng 30 degrees Fahrenheit ang ating temperature dahil lumipas na naman ang isang oras. From 20 degrees nung 12 noon, nagbawas tayo ng 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Ito ay naging negative 10. Saan nanggaling yung negative 10? Applying the rules of integers, minus ito, kaya subtracting integers. 20 and 30 are both positive. Change the sign of the subtrahend first. From positive 30, magiging negative 30. Then proceed to the rules of addition. Minus naging plus. Meron na tayong 20, positive 20 plus negative 30. The rule for adding integers with different signs is to first find their absolute values. Absolute value of 20 is positive 20, and the absolute value of negative 30 is positive 30. Next, subtract the smaller number from the bigger number. Si 20 yung smaller number, si 30 yung bigger number. Kaya meron tayong 30 minus 20, which is 10. Para malaman natin yung magiging sign ni 10, we have to base its sign doon sa original sign ng ating bigger number. Si bigger number natin ay 30, siya ay originally na negative 30. Kaya naman, ang ating 10 na sagot ay naging negative 10. So, by 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. of the same day, from 20 degrees, naging negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit na lamang yung temperature.
1 hour later.
Last hour, from negative 10, we need to deduct another 30 degrees dahil nag-drop na naman siya. Naging negative 40. Saan naman galing yung negative 40? Again, applying the rules of integers, negative 10 minus positive 30. Subtraction ito. So, from positive 30, changing the sign of the subtrahend, magiging negative 30, minus, magiging plus, because we need to proceed to the rules of addition. Negative 10 plus negative 30 is negative 40. Kaya naman by 2 p.m. of the same day, ang ating mercury thermometer ay naka-record na lamang ng temperature na negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. The temperature by 2 p.m. of the same day dropped from 80 degrees Fahrenheit at 10 a.m. to negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit by 2 p.m. Another word problem. Kate gets into the elevator on the first floor of a shopping mall. She goes up 3 floors to reach the food court. After an hour, she went down 2 floors to buy books. At which floor is she now? Ito si Kate. Siya ay nasa isang mall. Sasakay siya ng elevator. Gagamitin niya ito para makapunta siya sa kanyang destination. According to the word problem, si Kate daw ay sumakay sa elevator nung siya ay nasa first floor. So, originally, nasa first floor si Kate. Dun siya sasakay ng elevator. Gumamit tayo ng mathematical form para mas madali natin siyang maintindihan. 1 dahil originally si Kate ay nasa first floor. Plus, because of the word goes up. Meaning, i-add natin from first floor, saan pa siya next pumunta. 3 dahil umakyat siya ng 3 floors using an elevator. So, 1 plus 3 is 4. So, aakyat na si Kate from first floor ng 3 floors. Siya na ngayon, currently ay nasa 4th floor. Nasa 4th floor daw ang food court na kanyang pupuntahan.
1 hour later.
From 4th floor, she went down 2 floors to buy books. Mathematical form ulit tayo. 4 is yung kanyang current na pwesto. Siya ay nasa 4th floor. Minus, tayo ay magsusubtract dahil went down. Pag goes up, up means to add. Tayo magpa-plus. Pag down, magsusubtract tayo. So, minus. 2 dahil bababa siya ng 2 floors. So, 4 minus 2 is 2. Kaya naman si Kate, from 4th floor, bababa siya ng 2 floors. Siya na ay nasa 2nd floor. Nasa 2nd floor ang books. Currently, Kate is at 2nd floor. That's it for our video for today, mga bata. Hangad ko na naintindihan mo na ang absolute value and integers. This is the lesson 3, week 3 ng ating module for G7 Mathematics. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and Teacher Mo sa Math for more related topics about grade 7 mathematics. And also, I will really appreciate it if you will hit the like button. Paki-share din ang video na ito para mas marami pa akong grade 7 na mga bata ang maabot at maturuan dahil ako si Ma'am Regine, ang teacher mo sa math.